Wura and Tolu arrived in Ojora late at night, with darkness cloaking the village. As they entered the house, Madam Lola greeted them with a warm, hearty meal, but Wura couldn't bring herself to eat. Her mind was too troubled. "Mother," Wura began quietly, "Funmi is my loyal friend. She would never betray me, let alone steal my wedding gown." Madam Lola shook her head in disbelief, her voice stern. "How can you still trust her after what I found? The gown was in her bag, Wura. The evidence is clear." Wura pressed on, her voice tinged with desperation. "But why do things keep disappearing? The letters, the gown, and even the money Tolu gives me each morning, something isn't right, and it can't all be Funmi." That night, Wura tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. She was filled with anxiety and a sense of dread, knowing that Funmi was locked up in the palace prison, perhaps wrongfully. Morning couldn't come fast enough. At daybreak, Wura, Tolu, and her father hurried to King Adibo's palace. Wura wasted no time in pleading with the king. "Your Majesty, please, release Funmi. She's innocent. I'm certain of it." The king studied Wura for a moment before nodding to the palace guards. "Release her." Funmi emerged, her face stained with tears, looking drained and broken. Wura rushed to her side, embracing her tightly. "Funmi, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me." Funmi, however, was cold and distant, her eyes void of their usual warmth. "Wura," she whispered, "I never thought you would doubt me."
Like and subscribe now to follow Wura's quest for love, mystery, and magic. Every chapter brings a new twist, and you won't want to miss it.
King Adibo, eager to uncover the truth, summoned Ella, a female seer known for her powerful abilities. The villagers gathered at the palace, whispering among themselves as Ella arrived, draped in a white wrapper, her face partially covered, and carrying a large pot in her hands. Ella began her walk, her voice low and melodic as she spoke ancient words. The pot bubbled and hissed, revealing images of the past within its depths. The crowd watched in awe, holding their breath. After a few moments, Ella turned to face them. Wura was betrothed at the age of 6 to Ajoni, a brave warrior who once protected Ojora, Ella said, her voice echoing through the silent palace courtyard. But Ajoni died mysteriously in battle, and his body was never recovered. His spirit remains bound to Wura by an unfulfilled covenant, preventing her from moving forward in life. Gasps filled the air, and Wura's heart raced as Ella continued. In order to appease Ajoni's restless spirit, a virgin who loves Wura dearly must identify the spot where his body was buried. Only this person, with pure intentions and deep affection for Wura, can locate the exact place. But there is more. Ella's eyes locked with Wura's, her expression grave. Wura herself must play a crucial role. Once the spot is found, Wura must break the bond by smashing a fresh chicken egg on the warrior's grave. Only then will Ajoni's spirit be set free, and Wura will be released from the curse that has plagued her life. The crowd murmured in shock, and Wura's mind spun. The responsibility was overwhelming, but her resolve was firm. She knew the significance of the task ahead. Madam Lola, desperate to end the curse, immediately called for her younger daughter, Kemi. "Kemi, come forward," she ordered, believing the 17-year-old was still a virgin and capable of identifying the burial spot. Ella gazed into her pot once again and shook her head, her voice low and foreboding. "No, Kemi is not a virgin, and her heart is tainted with jealousy. It was she who hid Wura's wedding gown in Funmi's bag, hoping to cause discord between the two." The revelation struck like lightning. Wura stared at her younger sister in disbelief, her heart aching from this new betrayal. "But who, then, can help?" a villager asked, breaking the stunned silence. Suddenly, as if a light bulb had gone off in her mind, Wura gasped. "Funmi," she cried, her voice trembling with realization. "Funmi is the one." She's always been loyal to me, and she loves me dearly. All eyes turned to find Funmi, but she had vanished. Panic set in, and the search began, but Funmi was nowhere to be found. Wura, in desperation, cried out, "Why is everything I value disappearing? First, my gown, now my best friend." To make matters worse, Tolu, who had been quietly enduring the chaos, finally spoke up. "Wura," he said softly, "I can't keep doing this. I've lost my job in Lagos. The hospital fired me without reason, and I've been having nightmares. Someone is after me. I don't know how much more I can take." Wura's world was crumbling. It seemed there was no hope left. On her third day back in Ojora, Wura decided to take matters into her own hands. She remembered the seer's words and was ready to act on them and damn the consequences. Determined, she ventured into the forest alone. As she walked deeper into the forest, Wura sang sorrowfully, her voice echoing through the trees. The forest was scary. She was hearing all sorts of strange noises, but she never saw any creature, except little animals. Exhausted, she finally collapsed, tears streaming down her face. Just then, she heard footsteps. Fear gripped her, but she closed her eyes, bracing herself for the worst. A familiar voice broke through her terror. "Wura," it called gently. Wura opened her eyes to see Funmi standing before her. "Funmi, what are you doing here?" she asked, both relieved and confused. Funmi smiled sadly. "Ella instructed me to follow you. I was supposed to come with you from the start, but she told me to keep my distance until evening so that Ajoni's spirit wouldn't strangle you." "You've been following me all day?" Wura asked, astonished. "Yes," Funmi replied. "I had to play my part to free you from Ajoni's spirit. I knew you wouldn't believe me at first, so I stayed back. But now, we can finish this together." The two friends embraced, tears of relief and forgiveness flowing freely. Funmi revealed that Ajoni's spirit was buried under a rock they had passed earlier. "We need to go back and break the curse," she said. "But I did not have first chicken egg Ella said we should use," Wura said hopelessly. "Don't bother yourself. I was able to get one and I have it here with me." Together, they hurried to the spot, Wura clutching the chicken egg. With trembling hands, Wura smashed the egg on the rock. The air grew thick, and suddenly, the spirit of Ajoni appeared before them, dressed in warrior garb. "I am free now," the spirit said, his voice echoing through the trees. "You are released from our bond, Wura. You may marry Tolu and live in peace." As the spirit faded, the two friends held each other tightly, overwhelmed with relief. "Let's go home," Wura whispered. Funmi led the way, guiding them through the forest. Her newfound spiritual power seemed to protect them from any harm, and by sunrise, they had returned to Ojora. The entire village, including Wura's parents and King Adibo, was there to greet them, overjoyed and celebrating their return. Drumming and dancing filled the air, and from that day on, the practice of betrothing young girls to men was abandoned in Ojora and surrounding communities. Wura and Funmi stood side by side, knowing that their bond had been tested and had only grown stronger. The nightmare was over, and a new chapter of their lives was just beginning.